Welcome to the Alpine Church of Spiritual Living this morning. Glad to have you all here. Happy New Year. I will be reading the thought for the week, and then you can join me as we get down at the bottom. Happy New Year. Ringing in a new year brings time for reflection as well as planning for newness and reaching higher heights of awareness, expectations, and experiences. What better time than now to access where we have been in consciousness and where we would like to be. One of the fundamental teachings of New Thought is there is one power and presence, God, omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. Let me emphasize one. There is one, not two. This one power is whole, complete, and perfect. This power created all and is in, through, and present within all of its creations. Humankind is made in the image and likeness of God. We have within us the pure potential of experiencing wholeness if we but become one with the one as the Christ so demonstrated and instructed us. Jesus the man showed us how to become the Christ, by knowing our oneness with God the Father. Emmett Fox, metaphysical author, minister, and teacher, enumerates 7 main aspects or attributes of God, which he lists as life, truth, love, intelligence, soul, spirit, and principle. As we go within, pray, and meditate on these attributes, our life reflects outwardly what we have joined together inwardly. Today, right now, is the perfect time for each of us to steep ourselves in these divine qualities. Or attributes is what I wrote. Nothing is more important than doing the work of elevating our consciousness to let go of the lesser so that we may experience the greater. Nothing is more important than accepting our oneness with God the Father as Jesus the Christ so taught. Say with me, in this new year, I am ready, willing, and able to accept my oneness with truth, love, intelligence, soul, spirit, and principle. No more do I believe in separation and duality. I am one with the one, and it is so. And as I was reading that, I realized that I didn't change the program this week because that was what I wrote last week. I changed the title, The Trinity of Being. It says that, and it has the right date on it. But all of that in there is what we said last week. So you didn't get today's thought for the week in the program this morning.
But it bears repeating.
But it bears repeating. That is true. And in fact, it's interesting that you always say that because in my talk, I was talking about the fact that we need to go back and remember what I talked about last week, which is the unity, which is the oneness, which is that one principle. And so I'm so glad that I thought ahead and did what I did at one moment in time. I'll tell you how that works out later. But we are beginning a new book study this week. And it is on the principles of New Thought. And so I thought that this would be a good time to take this book and use it as our theme for the month. So our theme is, what is New Thought? And you got a gist of it, just as I read in the thought for the week, is what my notes say. We're talking about the Trinity today. We're talking about the ability to try to understand this infinite power and presence that really to our human minds is beyond our comprehension. And so because of that, we have yearned, I believe, as mankind, as humankind, for eons, a way in which to figure out, why are we here? What is this all about? What's going on? And in the traditional Christian traditions and in our New Thought traditions, mankind has made up this idea called the Trinity. so that we can divide, dissect, categorize, be able to identify the different aspects of this infinite power and presence. So mankind has been doing this for years, eons and eons. We wonder, what is life about? What am I supposed to be doing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be doing something else? Especially in this new year, at the beginning of a year, many times we try to reassess. Where have I been? Where am I going? What's it all about? And there was a song that was written decades ago. Some of you might remember it. But it came to mind this morning as I was thinking about what I was going to say. What's it all about, Alfie? I see head shaking. I hear head shaking. I see head shaking. What's it all about, Alfie? Is it just for the moment we live? What's it all about when you sort it out, Alfie? Are we meant to take more than we give? Or are we meant to be kind? And if only fools are kind, Alfie, then I guess it is wise to be cruel. And if life belongs only to the strong, Alfie, what will you lend on an old golden rule? As sure as I believe there's a heaven above, Alfie, I know there's something much more, something even non-believers can believe in. I believe in love, Alfie. Without true love, we just exist. Until you find the love you've missed, you're nothing, Alfie. When you walk, let your heart lead the way, and you'll find love any day, Alfie. I don't think I ever saw it. I saw lips moving, knowing every lyric of that. I don't think I ever saw that movie. I don't know if I did or not. But and I don't remember what I guess she was looking for love outside of herself. But what I want to reiterate, and maybe not, I don't remember. We're not going to find love anywhere outside of ourselves unless we find it inside of ourselves. Unless we have that experience of accepting that we are love, that I am love in expression, we won't be able to see it wherever we gaze. Ernest Holmes says, what we are looking for, we are looking with. That says so much to me. For we have to have within us this acceptance of the love that we are. And it's interesting because, you see, love isn't a thing. It's not something that we see, that we necessarily touch, that we can taste. It's none of those five senses. It's not in this three-dimensional realm. Now, love is beyond that. Love is in that feeling, sensory existence. So it's hard for us to put our finger on it. It's hard for us to define it. It's hard for us to say, yes, this is it. But we all know it. We all exactly know what love is. When we feel it, when we experience it, when we acknowledge it. And so that's why, through the ages, mankind has tried to dissect this spirit that's infinite, this love that's infinite, one and the same thing, God, whatever you want to call that energy, into ways that a human can accept it. And so we give it the Trinity. We give it the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. If you read my thought for the week, you'd actually, you guys got that in your email, didn't you? Yes, yeah, so if you're on our mailing list, you've given me your email. And it was in the Alpine Sun. That's right, Betty, for those who don't have a computer. Yeah.
And the most important statement in it was, it's really irrelevant.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you just read it?
I don't have it, honey.
Oh, you could,
Oh, you have it on your phone. That's what I did last week.
yes,
God, deja vu.
all over again.
All over again. Yeah. So we have the traditional way, the Christian way of talking about the Trinity, Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. And then we had the New Thought. That's what this whole book is about, the principles of New Thought. How we look at how Ernest Holmes, who was the founder of religious science, and he wrote in the Science of Mind textbook, how we look at the Trinity, which is spirit, first cause, God. We can look at the second level, which Ernest Holmes calls law. That's the way it works. The first thing is the thing itself. The second one is the way it works, which is the law. And the third thing is the effect or the result of what happens in our lives. It's really irrelevant, is what I think the word was that came through me on the thought for the week, was that it doesn't really matter which way you look at it, because we're all on this physical plane of humanity. You want me to read it? In different levels, and different things that speak to us at different times.
Hold her, and if
Oh,
trouble,
that's
you can
too
go
tiny, honey.
on. That's why I said.
That's why I said.
That's like this. Pinch it.
Okay, all righty then. Uh-huh,
You just
Right,
hold
right,
it
right.
right. Rev.Gay.
I understand.
The first line's in the.
You know what? It's not gonna work for me right now.
Why?
It's okay. It's all right.
Then I'll have my phone back
You have your phone back.
before you use it.
Yes, dear. Okay. What I'm trying to say is that it's irrelevant which way you look at it, whether it's Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, or Spirit, law, and effect. It's a way of the humankind to dissect and to categorize the infinite, that our human brain can understand, that we can digest it and we can understand it. When you look at the way New Thought teaches the Trinity, we first start with the thing itself, which is a principle. And the traditional Christian tradition says this as well, though not as much as New Thought does. But this energy and essence of the infinite is a principle, meaning that it doesn't change its mind. It doesn't decide to do one thing one way for somebody and then something else for another person in another way. It cannot be begged or pleaded with because it doesn't change. It is what it is, what it is. And it is whole, complete, and perfect. We give it all these qualities of love and essence and energy. It is, as I said last week, wholeness, unity, oneness. There is not a spot where Spirit, God, is not. And that includes us. That includes everything and everyone. It is pure, it is whole, as we are. In other words, we are divine. We are love. We are spirit. I don't know, maybe I'm just, sorry to say weird, maybe I'm different, I don't know. But do you, as the course of your day goes through, do you get little hits of things that come into your consciousness that you have no idea where they came from? And oh, good. I'm glad. And as I was standing in the grocery store yesterday, this thing came over me, and it's probably because, you know, this is where a lot of my attention is that I am divine. I am spirit. I am spirit. We talk about this in Science of Mind all the time. That as a human, we marry the physical plane of what we can see and taste and touch and all of that with that spirit that is the unseen, that principle that is within us. I am divine. I am spirit. I'm going to suggest, if it works for you, to play with that one little sentence, I am spirit. See if it resonates with you, first of all. If it doesn't, then, you know, don't do it. But if you say, I'm spirit, there's spirits somewhere in me, as me, then allow yourself to play with that idea a little bit more in this coming week, that I am spirit. And because so much of our time, I believe, as a human, we spend in appearances. We spend in things, in doing, and our attention goes to all of the outer things of life. And some of them aren't so pretty. Some of them aren't so fun. And so we get caught up in those things, you know. But, let's talk about it. Let's talk about and give more energy to blah, 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 blah. Ernest Holmes states in Science of Mind textbook, the thing itself, in parentheses, spirit, works for us by working through us and in us, always. It spreads itself over the whole universe and shouts at us from every angle. But it can only become power to us when we recognize it as power. Our belief sets the limit to our demonstration of a principle which, of itself, is without limit. It is ready to fill everything because it is infinite. It is entirely a question of our receptivity. It has been said that we can know God only insofar as we can become God. Listen fully. It is to be taken figuratively and not too literally, for we cannot really become God. But we can and do partake in the divine nature, and the universal does personify itself through man in varying degrees according to man's receptivity of it. That's Ernest Holmes. You can tell by the language. But what we're talking about is the fact that it is whole, complete, and perfect, and it is within us, and it is our choice. It is our ability to allow our union with this infinite power and presence and let it flow through us. How many times have you heard that? Every time we open up this service, we are here to learn what God is and to let that power flow through us. Because it is good. It is all good. Oh man, I wish you had this in front of you, because I was going to have you repeat the affirmation from today. So you'll just have to listen carefully.
You can repeat after you.
You can repeat. You can. We can do this. Okay, well, I'm going to read you the last paragraph, which you've seen. You saw it in your email. Some of you can bring it up on your phone. As we are receptive to and cooperate with this Holy of Holies within our own being, We are given loving guidance and direction. As we learn to step our egoic nature aside, and we are thus available to let and allow the infinite creative spiritual force to bring out good and more good in and through our lives. It's interesting because I love to sit down and write these thought for the weeks because I never know what's going to come out. I don't prepare for them. I just sit down and put my hands on the keyboard and it just comes. And I read this morning, reread it after I had put down all of these ideas for the talk. It all coalesces, it all comes together. Because there is one mind, one power, one presence operating through all. And it's really up to us just to become receptive to it, to allow it to flow through us. So say with me, I am open and receptive.
I am open and receptive
To expecting and seeing
to expecting and seeing
the action of love
the action of love
work its mysterious wonders
work its mysterious wonders
through my life today and always.
through my life today and always.
And that is the way it is, and so it is. Namaste.